Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. I do apologize for the bit of delay on this particular video and in videos that were scheduled for July. I usually take a little bit of time off in July. That's kind of my halfway point, and so, yeah, I do apologize for being absent, but I am very excited to talk to you guys, even though it's, almost a week and a half after the fact, about a new mechanic that is here in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, and more importantly, in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel. Going into episode 58 of 7s, we had a feeling that a new mechanic was going to debut, as a character named Yugioh, one of the 6 Goha siblings, was hyping up a card that he was building, and we had just found out that it was legal to use that card in Rush Duels. And what do you know, he duels Yugioh and uses this card, and this card is a version of the fusion summon that we are all so familiar with as Yu-Gi-Oh! Players and as Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans. Fusion has been around since Duel Monsters, and it has been the only mechanic that has showed up in every single anime. GX was obviously the focus. 5Ds and Zexal it showed up in, definitely more in a minor role, backseating to Synchro and XZ's. Arc 5 had a pretty big role, and Vrains had also had a bit of a minor role. But it showed up in every single Studio Gallop anime, and so it is really cool that Fusion transcends studios and shows up in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s and is the new mechanic alongside Maximum to be introduced to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel game. Now, there is a little bit of confusion here because even though this is Fusion, which is what we're all familiar with, it's not actually the same Fusion that we all know and love. If you've ever watched any sort of Yu-Gi-Oh! Subbed, you know the characters always say Fusion summon as Yugioh Shoken. And Yugioh is the way that you pronounce the Master Duel version of Fusion. Well, it was very obvious that Yugioh was saying Fusion, the actual word fusion, and not Yugioh. So there is a little bit of a difference between how these two spell cards work, which makes sense because obviously you don't want to have a carbon copy of the Master Duel version of Fusion, and at least Rush Duels is giving it a little bit of an own unique spin and an own unique take. And the big difference between the Fusion mechanic in Rush Duels and the Fusion mechanic in Master Duels is this. You must send the face-up monsters you control to the grave as materials for a fusion summon. So often in Yu-Gi-Oh! We see a character in an anime or in real life, a real-life Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, fusion summon using materials in their hand. Obviously, it's just much easier to do that. You don't need to summon monsters to the field in order to fuse them in most cases. If I was going to use Lunalight Fusion or Shadal Fusion or Red Eyes Fusion or just Polymerization, I would use it on monsters that were in my hand because I'm not wasting a summon and it's much harder to get those monsters onto the field in most cases. However, in Rush Duel's version of fusion summoning, the monsters need to be on the field. Now, if you're completely unfamiliar with Rush Duels, it's not nearly as hard to get monsters onto the field as it is in Master Duels because you can literally summon as many monsters as you want. That's how Rush Duels works, and you're replenishing your hand to 5 every draw. Those are the two main features of Rush Duels. However, that little quirk definitely differentiates itself from the fusion that we have all been used to. So again, the massive difference between the fusions in Rush Duels and the fusions in Master Duels is in Rush Duels, you can only use materials that are on your field. You cannot use materials, as far as we know, in your hand. So that is a massive, massive difference. Yugioh Organization goes on to say, unlike Fusion Summon in the OCG/TCG, which is dubbed Yugioh Shoken, Rush Duel's version of the mechanic is called Fusion Shoken. Similar, but not quite the same thing. And again, the big difference between the two mechanics: in the OCG TCG, you can use monsters anywhere, from your hand, from your grave, sometimes from your grave, to fusion summon. In Rush Duels, you can only use monsters that are on the field. So personally, how do I feel about the second major element and mechanic in Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duels being fusion? I absolutely love it. Since Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's started, from the very beginning, I was, and if you've watched any of my content, I was dead set on the thought that fusions were coming to Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duels. I was very confident, and a lot of people kind of agreed with me, but as the show went on, and it seemed like Rush Duels really wanted to kind of stay away from the OCG and TCG and wanted to do their own thing on everything when it came to the game, which was an understandable point of view to have, a lot of people started to lose hope that we would see any sort of resemblance to any sort of mechanic that has already been established in the OCG and TCG. But I stood firm, and I really felt like fusions were going to come to the game of Rush Duels. So I'm very happy that it's here. I think fusions are the one mechanic that, again, has just been in every single Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and I think that's a great tradition to keep in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, and so I was very, very excited when Yugioh Fusion summoned. You can watch my reaction to it right here. The link for that will be in the description. Do I believe that any other mechanics are going to come to Rush Duels? Maybe that'll be a topic for another video. I don't. Any other mechanics, I should say, that are established, like Synchro, XZs, established in the OCG, TCG, I don't. I think it's going to end with fusions. I think there's a somewhat small chance that rituals come, but I think fusion will probably be the only resemblance of a former mechanic that will exist in the sphere of Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duels. So I'm very happy about it. I'm very excited. I know the reaction from a lot of people that are watching 7s has been very mixed. A lot of people wanted Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duels to just be completely different than the OCG and TCG, and so they're not really happy that there is a form of fusion in this game. But there's also people that I kind of am on the same realm as, that think it's really cool, and I just personally feel like it's different enough, that it's unique enough, that it has its own spice, where it's okay to be similar to the fusion in the OCG and TCG, but different. And one of my favorite moments from the 7's anime when this fusion summon happened, I think it was Gakuto who said, fusion like polymerization, implicating that polymerization probably existed in the original form of dueling, which we know nothing about 60 episodes into 7s now, before Rush Duels became a thing. So that was also pretty interesting for the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's lore. But anyway, guys, the second mechanic in Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duels is here, and it is fusion summoning. Not Yugioh the character, but fusion summoning. Please let me know all your thoughts on fusions being in Rush Duels. Let me know any other mechanics from the OCG or TCG that maybe you would like to see come to Rush Duels. I'm kind of indifferent. I would be okay if they just didn't touch anything else at this point now that we have fusions. But let me know. Maybe some of you really want to see synchros in Rush Duels. Maybe some of you do not want to see anything else from the OCG and TCG in Rush Duels. I'm very excited to have that dialogue with all of you. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Panther J, Blue Maiden 28, and Jarrett Buller. And to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood and Latrell Smith. Thank you to everyone who is a patron or a YouTube channel member. Your support to me is tremendous, and I am always grateful for that. I stream on Twitch, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram, and I have a second channel called Super Deep Rot. I've uploaded a couple of Mario Party videos on there. Links for all of that will be in the description in case you want to check it out. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I will talk to you in the comment section, and I hope you have an amazing day.